If you guys have been watching for a little while, you know that every single interview is the interview that I need. And when I tell you guys I need this interview today with my bestest friends in the whole wide world, welcome back to the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother, and I help people get fly, make friends, and save the world through community. And every single week, we talk to amazing creative entrepreneurs. And yes, every single week is very special. And everybody we interview is just phenomenal in the work that they do. I know I say this every week, but this particular interview is very, very special for many, many reasons. These two, well, first of all, this is our first duo. So, first duo.
Nice.
And y'all don't even know, but I usually gush over my guests for the first, like, at least 5 minutes. So, we're going to just gush. Way back when Amanda was a little tot, okay, I used to scream to this group of girls from across the neighborhood and be like, hello. And then later we would get on the bus to school together and talk about how we would scream to each other and listen on our MP3 player, one ear to the other, to like whatever the hell was on my MP3 player that could carry like 50 songs at the time.
Boy, period.
So like when I say this is a special interview, I mean it's a special interview. You guys, I've known you the longest out of everybody I've ever interviewed. Y'all, okay, these girls are helping me buy my first house. They were going to walk in the wedding that I didn't have because of the pandemic. They like literally see me in every iteration. So it's an absolute honor to bring the Property Sisters of Michigan, Christie and Raquel Delly, to the stage.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited.
We have to honorable mention Alexa Delly, who is not part of the Property Sisters, but is part of the Delly Sisters, who also just has a huge place in my heart. You girls are amazing. And when I say like 13, like 12, 13, fifth grade is when I met Christie, just the most beautiful, loving human in the world. And my little sister met Raquel in the second grade. Is that when you met Rachel?
Second or third. It's probably second. No, because if you guys
second, we met in the yes, and just like ride or dies ever since. Like we've gone through our waves, we've gone through our ups and downs. But when I say family, it was like family, and now it's even more clear that it's family every single day, every single time we talk to each other, and seeing you two grow into the Property Sisters of Michigan has been so special. So special. I'll let you explain what you do, but like for whatever reason today, the tears are starting in the first 3 minutes. Okay. So we're gonna just allow that.
It's going to happen, I feel like, anyway.
I swear. I had a feeling that was gonna happen.
Oh man.
Do you want to
Tell
go?
them beautiful. Yeah, tell them what you do.
So, well, we are real estate agents, and I've been in the business since 2015. Christie got licensed in 2021. So I had started obviously before her, and then I kind of got my footing around 2020, which is ironic. But then Christie ended up getting her license, and when she came aboard, we both kind of did our own thing independently.
Yeah.
And just kind of worked it as our own personal jobs, which was fine. You know, you're getting the feel of doing it for you.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think that was a big part for me. Like, I didn't want to just kind of ride off her coattails. I wanted to establish my own business and my own clients and know that I was going to find success on my own. And once that we realized like we need to just partner up and join forces. We had done a couple of deals together, like, and just because, help each other out and things like that. It just kind of comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once we decided to partner up and just kind of run with it was sometime last year. We went to our company's convention, and it just really opened up our minds, expanded like our horizons a little bit more than we really kind of gave ourselves. And then it was just like, one day we just kind of ripped the Band-Aid
Yeah,
off.
like people would see us and they're like, oh, the sisters, oh, the sisters, oh, the sisters. I'm like, and then we're always like together. We
Yeah.
live together, we work together, we do everything together. So
Basically each other's shadows.
yeah, so it's like, you know what, it didn't make any sense not to partner up together because it's like then we have more reach that way. It just everything kind of made sense to take that and run with it. And ever since we did that, it's been crazy. But it's been fun.
It's been really fun.
Yeah,
I
I think
that way and building a brand. It's also new, but it's like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have questions. So, family business, wasn't expecting it to be that way. Like, I can understand being a sister of multiple siblings, specifically with other sisters. It can be challenging, like dynamics when you're finding your way. How did you two like make sure, or how did you get through that? Like, obviously, there was like a moment and there's probably multiple conversations, but how did you get through to the point where, like, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to maintain our independence and then leverage our collaboration?
I think that was probably one of the hardest things.
Something we still work on, I feel
We
like.
definitely still have, you know, the bumps in the road with that.
Yeah.
Because you want to have, it's almost like having a twin. Like you want to have your own identity, you know, and you want to do your own thing sometimes. But we know that it has to be this way in order for us to grow together. We can't just do it like independently. And the communication is huge. You know, if one of us is upset or if someone says something sideways or if we're just not seeing eye to eye, it's like we're just constantly trying to like communicate what the other is feeling. And sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't go so well.
Mhm.
But like the good news is at the end of the day, we're still going to be in each other's face. So it's
Yeah.
going to work somehow because we're sisters and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think especially in the beginning, when she got her license, I really struggled with that because I was like, this is my space. And, you know, it's just like this big energy ball of me.
Yeah.
And, and I take full accountability for that because I know how I am. And it was really challenging for me to accept that into my world. But once I saw her doing her thing and it was like, you know, big sis, and I'm like, okay, I can get used to this. And then, you know, we were on a different team before and then she left and I was like, kind of like, what am I doing here? Why am I not with my sister? You know? So like, I know at the end of the day, that's like where it's meant to be is us together working through whatever it is. So it's kind of just like, for me anyway, I love her so much that it's like, no matter what happens, you know, no matter what the conversation looks like or the roles that we're playing, it seems to just kind of iron itself out.
Yeah. I feel like the balance, like, of our personalities has helped this come a long way just because like it's just brought a different energy. It brings a different energy with our clients too. And like, even when I did come into that space, it was intimidating for me too. And I was like, oh my God, like, what is like, it was just like I shut down. Like, I was just like, this, like, I just had to look around. Like, I was very like observant. And I was like, she established a name for herself, a reputation and all of that. And she, was one of the top producers on the team. And I was like, I don't want to mess this up for her. Like, I want everything to be like, a certain way. And I want to be a certain way. And just so many things came along after that too, that like have also been, I feel like, stepping stones getting us to this point and just understanding each other, but wanting to give each other space, but also build each other up, help each other, and, just kind of play off one another. And here we are.
Yeah. And like our personality, our disc profiles are opposite.
Oh, perfect.
So it works. Yeah.
It works. It just works. Well, and it didn't all, I remember the conversations that I would have with Christie when you first started jumping in and the conversations I would have with Raquel when Christie started jumping in. It was like, on Christie, like, question for you, Christie. So I remember there were conversations and you have a beautiful story where you found real estate a little bit later in life. And it was kind of like a thing that you found yourself in. And you're like, I really want to make sure I do a good job for her. And I really want to make sure that she's proud of me. when did you get to the point where you're like, I know this is for me and not just like something that like my parents approve of, my sister approves of, everybody else approves of, and I'm performing it for them? Like, when did you get to that point for yourself?
Sure. So I think that really came along with I picked up a second job sometime. I think it was last year or a year and a half ago, somewhere, something like that. It's all kind of blurred right now, but I had a second job and I was like, it was kind of like my fallback, and I was like, I was on the roller coaster. I was still establishing my business, but I was like, deals are working out, deals are falling apart. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Bills still need to be paid and things like that. So I was in this weird like transition area for a little while. And I think like once I realized I had already left and I was like, I don't want to be here. I'd rather be with Raquel. I'd rather be with my team. I'd rather be, like this is what I want to do. And I just kind of decided at that point, like, to stay plugged in. Like I was working like 7 days a week. If I was off from my job, I was at the office. I was like up on all of our conference calls every morning and just like open houses on the weekend when I was off. Like I just did everything that I could to get myself back to that place. Cause that's when I realized like, that's what I wanted for me. It wasn't like, it was like my deciding like, it sparked for me. Like, I was like, this is what I want to do. I don't want my backup plan anymore. Like, I was like, this is our future. Like, we need to make this happen. I need to make this happen. Cause I was, it was just inconsistent for me. There was a lot that was still new and I was like having a hard time navigating it, to be honest with you. And once I like really like honed in on that, it really took off. And then it was to the point that I had Raquel, I had another couple of partners showing houses for me because I was busy at, stuck at my other job. I couldn't do much. Like, I didn't have that freedom. And we had a long conversation about it. And she's like, like, you're ready. Like, you have all these things going on. Like, we're doing all these things together.
For you anymore.
Yeah. And I was like, so I just pulled the trigger and I left my other job and it's been good ever since. Thank God. So.
Okay. So fast forward, you guys finally like mush heads together. We've come up with the idea of Property Sisters of Michigan. You guys launch an Instagram. I know that Raquel is the official media marketing, social media director.
Yeah.
You two know firsthand more than anyone that I struggle so hard with this.
But Raquel, tell me what that's been like, because you guys have launched some things. So tell us like the full scope of your media and marketing side and like what you're leveraging as Property Sisters of Michigan and what that's done for your business.
It's a lot. I didn't expect going into this to wear so many hats. And I think that's the part where I'm like still trying to control and organize and, plan and learn and do all these things. Right. So when we did the Instagram account, that was very much like spontaneous. That was our launch of the Property Sisters. This reel that we put together. But anyways, besides the point.
So cute.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I mean, we know that that's my background is like more tech, and even but these days tech is like way more than like what I was used to when I was in the tech world prior to real estate. So I'm just trying to wear all of these different hats and creating the YouTube account and learning how to use YouTube and figuring out what works and what doesn't, what's good clickbait or what's, things like that. I'm just like learning about all these different things and then also having to edit videos. I never did that before, and just edit photos and create stuff on Canva. There's so much stuff involved. It's a whole nother job, if you ask me. I mean, it really is.
It is.
And I mean, putting it all together, I don't want to say I don't enjoy doing it, because I do. There is part of me that enjoys it, but it's a lot of freaking work. And anyone that does social media marketing knows that it's a lot of work. And putting it all together, like when I see the end result, I'm like, oh yes, that's good,
Beautiful baby.
like, yeah, like there it is, that's what I wanted. But like the leading up to it, I'm like, like trying to, why isn't this working? Like
Steam coming out of your ears. Yeah.
yeah, it can be a lot. Like when I
see,
just, yeah, she's like, what can I do to help? I'm like, just go over
Get
there.
away from me.
Stay in your lane. But yeah, it's been interesting to wear that hat, because I've always been like, it's a self-discovery thing too, because I'm like, well, who are you? I've been a realtor for quite a while now. Well, now I'm a YouTuber, I'm a social media marketer, I'm all these things, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna like, I'm just gonna own that as like that's what I do now, is I do all of these things, like
You're a business owner.
yeah, just an entrepreneur doing
Mhm.
all of the things.
I will say you two were the people that taught me that real estate, the role of a real estate agent is really an entrepreneurial job.
Mhm.
On the outside looking in, I don't, just a first glance, I think of a real estate agent as a real estate agent. That's just like they're a salesperson, they're in this industry, but talking to both of you and how you run your own businesses within the teams that you're working on, like I didn't realize it was so, I mean, I guess I did realize it was so independent, but I didn't realize you guys are running your own business. Can you talk to people who don't know anything about the job of being a real estate agent and what that's like and why it's entrepreneurialism? Because I feel like y'all taught me and I had no idea.
Yeah.
But
So I feel like the best way that we could describe that, at least for me, something that we hear all the time is like, you're like an onion and you have to peel through all the layers. That's kind of what real estate feels like, is we don't get paid salary, we don't get paid hourly. You literally are running your own business. And with that comes all of the things that an entrepreneur does. So, I mean, to keep it simple, just like how, I was just telling you about the social media marketing, and, that's been a huge thing for us to grow our business. We've had a lot more reach having a YouTube channel and all of these things. It's been great for us. Um, but it's, it's,
I think a lot of people think realtors just open the doors, write the contracts, have a good day.
look at pretty
Here's
houses
your
and
house.
then boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Fat stack of cash, walk away.
yeah.
Yep.
I would never go to a house in heels. I would probably
I did that
fall
once.
over.
I almost did. I tripped and I was like,
I
never
mean,
again.
like you see some of the yards we walk through, some of the steep stuff, like there's so much of random stuff that's like off the wall that we don't even need to get into. But like I feel like a big misconception, and I guess it just depends on how you want to handle your business too. But I think for us, like, we take that very seriously. We hold ourselves to a standard. We want our clients to have the best experience. And there's all these things that happen behind the scenes to make those things possible. And a lot of people think it's just part of the job until they see other people don't work that way. And then they're like, wait a second, like, they're like, yeah, it's not like, it's not all one size fits all type of thing,
Mhm.
like we're very much tailored to our clientele. We know, like, if I have someone, I'm like, you know what, I think like our personalities might not be meshing. I think Raquel would be a better fit for them. And it happens to both of us, like vice versa. Like sometimes we just need to take each other's clients on, like just to be more of like that face, because you click with different people. And
Mhm.
like there's just so many.
Even when we do open houses, not to
Yeah,
pick up,
no, please.
like at the end, we have this list of people that sign in, and that's considered like a warm lead for us. Obviously, we don't want to step on anyone's toes if they're working with someone.
Right.
But as we're going through that list, we're like, I think you had a better conversation with that person, or I think they're more your speed, or like, so we kind of navigate that way too,
Yeah.
as far as like, dispersing our clientele and our business. But yeah, I mean, for people that don't really know what it's like to be in real estate, it's a whole, real estate's like the umbrella, and then there's all these things that follow. So it's not selling sunset. I feel like a lot of realtors just post like the just sold and the glamorous side of it. So you don't really know unless you're friends with the realtor what they do.
And then even breaking down like your numbers, like once, because you don't get paid until papers are signed, so then you're like factoring your gas, factoring your time, factoring all these other things that like people don't even think about. But it's like you could be working for maybe a month, you could be working for a year, like with some, it's just like
Or
there's
years, plural.
that's the thing, like, and you just don't know, but like we're in it. Like once we're committed, like we take that very seriously, and we do want to make sure that we get you to your destination, and that's like at whatever time that happens. But there's so many things that I think people don't realize and think about that come into play during all this time, and what you're doing, as you're seeing each house, as you're, getting deeper into the life of your client, that you're understanding, more of what they're looking for, why, what's happened, what's got them to this point. Like you really do take on someone's life for one of the biggest purchases that they're maybe ever going to make, and it's like, it can be emotional. It can be all these things. And we just, you just take it on, and on top of whatever you got going on, it's part of the life. Yeah. We're also therapists. That's another hat of ours, counselors, teachers.
Yes, it's everything.
Educators. I am curious about how, like, if someone is looking for a real estate agent, like on the, like, I feel lucky and blessed that I have you two in my life, that I didn't even have to go on the hunt for a real estate agent. I was like, we got them in the back corner. Like whenever we're ready, we just call them. I trust them. I know that they're like about their shit. They do their business well. So I didn't have to hunt for you. But if they don't have a Christie and Raquel, if they don't have a Property Sisters of Michigan, or if they're not in Michigan, how do you vet out? How do you know like you found the right real estate agent for you? Because there's like billboards and there's marketing and there's a lot of like sales, and it feels scary and it feels intimidating, and it feels like you could, the nerves that you feel maybe are like, oh my gosh, am I going to get sold a house that I'm not ready for? Or are they going to try and like close a deal on me and screw me over? Like those are some of the feelings. How do you know that you found the right real estate agent for you? Or how do you like vet them out?
I always actually think of this question, because I'm like, I've been doing it so long, and I'm like, what do the people want? Like what do they, if I wasn't an agent, like what would I look for in an agent to hire me, essentially? And then my thought process is, where do you go to look for one? Like, do you just walk into the nearest brokerage? Do you go online? Do you research?
Open the yellow pages.
Right. So the way that I feel that I wish people would do more of is just research. Go on Google, look up agents, look at their social media, meet with them, go get a cup of coffee. If they invite you to a cup of coffee, be firm on, if you want to interview other people, and don't sign, a contract if you're not comfortable signing a contract. Don't let somebody sell you into doing something that you're not comfortable with. You have to also have that, in your personality, I would hope. And my best advice would be, go where you feel the most comfortable. Like I wouldn't want to work with anybody in any field that I wasn't 100% comfortable with, like a doctor or my CPA if I don't trust them, or things like that. You know what I mean? Like that's across the board, I feel like. So for me, I would say, if you can get a recommendation from somebody that you trust, great. And if you don't like them, keep it moving. You don't have to work with somebody that you don't want to work with, and just feel 100% comfortable that you can trust them, that they're going to have your back, that they're knowledgeable, that they're, keeping up with all the different changes that happen in the industry. There's a lot that goes into it. So for me, I would say interviewing agents and just locking in with who you're the most comfortable with at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think I was going to piggyback off that, just because I feel like a lot of people don't know that they can do that. I think they maybe find someone or get referred to someone or whatever it is, and they think, okay, well, I guess this is my person now, and I'm just going to, ride this wave until maybe I find what I'm looking for. But like, they don't make me comfortable. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, you're not forced to work with these people. And even, like, down the line, if something happens and they make you feel some type of way or uncomfortable, like you're not stuck. Definitely, like Raquel was saying, do some research, look at their reviews, look at their social media, look at whatever you can find when you do find someone that you're like, oh, okay, like she seems pretty cool. I don't know, like, let me do a little more digging. And 9 times out of 10, I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for, or, if you're like, red flag, think I'm gonna, find the next person or something,
Yeah.
like just keep it light, but also like do, like Raquel was saying, do your research and just make sure like, okay, like this person is my vibe. She has a good reputation. She's got this going on. And, even if it doesn't seem like, and if it doesn't seem like a good fit, then just, it's okay to move on, but to definitely do what you can and go from there.
Sounds like dating. I mean, I feel like that's for anything though, but you have to like be willing to break up with people. And
Yeah.
I feel like people haven't talked enough about breaking up with people in business. And I'm guilty of this. Like as an entrepreneur and a creative person, like I'll just like disappear, and it seems like common in our area where people just, you know what, I'm just going to like ghost them. But I feel like the art of breaking up in business needs to be cultivated a little bit more because you're just giving respect to the project, to the person, and like just being like, I just don't think that we work well together. And that's okay. Good luck on your next one.
Right.
I'm on the hunt. And even starting with that, I know in dating, you're not supposed to be like, so I'm looking for marriage. What are you looking for? But I feel like in real estate, at least like the real estate agents are there for marriage. We know this, like, and they're dating to get married, to buy a house, right? They're like, you guys are about your business. So I feel like being honest about that.
Yeah. And
The
it's
jump is okay.
and it's like, I think for me, because I've had to fire, I guess, a couple of clients, but it was more along the lines of like, I wasn't comfortable with, some things that were going on. And it just got to that point that I just had to become comfortable with communicating that, because it's like, this is my business. This is not how I want to do things. I have a reputation to uphold myself. And if I don't feel like things are kosher and we're not seeing eye to eye, like I have to let you know that. And it's like, I don't do it in a way that, I mean, I don't think it's disrespectful, but I try to be as respectful as I possibly can, just
Yeah.
in part ways. And, sometimes there have been contracts in place and I don't hold them to that. And, it just is what it is. It just comes with the territory. And it's something that I learned that I have to be okay with, because sometimes things kind of come out of left field and you're like, I don't think this is going to work. And I wish you the best of luck on your journey, to be honest with you. And it's just one of those things that you have to take as it comes and, just wish everyone the best.
It seems it's definitely a journey because
Mhm.
you've been helping us, Labrie and I, find our dream house for a long time. Like we kind of started looking when we moved back from Texas and we kind of bounced around. We worked with Raquel, we worked with Christie. We're kind of like, we're like very cautious because, I think every client's a little bit different. And I see like situations where it could happen like in 3 weeks. And we're here like years later, slowly tiptoeing our way. And Christy, you said it to me before. You're like, you guys are more than prepared. We don't think we're prepared enough. You were like, sometimes people show up with like a paper clip and a rubber band and make it happen.
Let it out. Everyone's different though. And that's the thing. It's like some people are like, oh, like they don't even have a savings. And it's just like, so what can we do? Like
Right.
we want to make some shit happen right now. Like, okay, well, we're gonna find out what we can do for you, my friend. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. But like it just comes with that, wanting to be comfortable, but us also helping to guide you down this path and figure out how we can narrow things down, how to make you comfortable. What what are your non-negotiables? What are you looking for? What's going to make you happy? And I think it took this time to get us there. So
Yeah.
everyone's going to be on their own journey, and no matter what, it's just something that comes with the territory.
I'm curious for those of us that are on this at the beginning of our journey. I'm sure I have people that watch the Let's Glow show that have houses or are renting or are still at home with their parents. All are good. But if they're like on the fence, like, do I rent or do I buy? Do you have any advice for us? Because we're battling with this all the time. And I know it's an independent journey, but like just from what you know about the market, what are some of your suggestions? Because there's so much shit that comes out about like real estate and property and like owning every day. And I'm just like, there's a lot of information always. Like,
That's
Like,
pretty much
help me.
that's pretty much how we feel too. I mean, renting versus buying. I always say buy because it's, interest rates are high, but then it's like, okay, well, do I want to pay 100% of someone else's mortgage, or do I want to pay a little bit of interest and own my own house, And so that's kind of the way that I see it. But that may not be for everybody. If it's a person that's maybe isn't ready to settle down in one spot, or they're just unsure, and maybe they're planning on going somewhere. I don't know. Maybe that person is better off renting, so they're not locked in. If it's a short term. So like that's that could be somebody's journey. And then as far as buying goes, if you're just thinking about it or wanting to get started, I would say, like, if it were me, I would probably like jump on YouTube and watch a couple videos and
read
just
a couple books.
try to get a little bit familiar.
Yeah.
And then talk to a real estate agent. Maybe just go see a couple houses, just for not as like seriously looking, but as casually looking. Like, is this what I like? Do I like a ranch style? Do I like a colonial? Do I like all these stairs? Do I want a basement? Do I have a bunch of shit at home? Do I need a basement? Do I need a garage? Like, there's so many different styles of houses that you could buy, also depending on the area that you're looking in. So maybe find an agent, get familiar with them, go see a couple of houses, figure out what you like, what you don't like, get your finances in order. Look at that. That's very important. It should be the first thing you do before you're planning on buying. Make sure you got your money.
Some people don't start there though. Like, some people want to go see houses, and then because they're like, oh, if I do this, like, I have to get a mortgage. Now I have to do all these things. And they think it's like, there's ways that it should be done, I guess, but like, that's not everybody's journey. So it's like,
it's not everyone's style.
We need to make it's flexible. We have to be flexible too. Cause it's like us understanding the clients. It's like she was saying,
we cater to them.
Yes.
Like, if this is where you're comfortable, and that's where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
So I think just step by step, and do as much research until you feel comfortable and ready, whether it takes a week or a month or years. Or I've had plenty of clients that I've worked with years, and I've had clients that I've shown one house to and they love it and they buy it.
Yes.
It's just different for everybody, but I would say just get a feel for it, and just like buying a car, it's like, do I like the Jeep or do I like the, terrain?
Get in and try it out. And I didn't know, like, the part, like, go and look at houses and define what you like. Like, I didn't know we could just like go to an open house. So like, you were like, you can just go. Like, you don't need to call me and ask me if I can go to this. Oh, it's open. The house is open. You can go in the house. Like, and it's like, you don't know what you don't know. It's such a big, there's so many words. There's so much like vocabulary and lingo, and there's market things. And so like, we didn't know. And then after we did that, we're like, oh, we could just like go to an open house. And it's cool because I remember, like, after we went to a couple open houses, after we saw a couple houses with you, Christy, and Breeze is like, I kind of like seeing the house sometimes without Christy. And I was like, why? I was like, I love it when Christy's there. And he was like, well, like, I can formulate my own opinion. And I was like, you should tell her that. He didn't tell you that. But he was like, I know Christy knows what she's looking for and the quality of the house. He's like, I just want to like make my decision and then like talk it through with her. I was like, okay, but you need to like communicate that with her, that's the style that you need. I'm communicating with you right now. But like, you'll see stuff like, oh, the entire foundation is cracking. And he'll be like, but it's cool. Like, and that's, you know what I mean? But like, we didn't know it. And it's like, we didn't know what we were like interested in looking for and looking at. Like, we didn't know what caught our eye. Like, oh, we're looking at this. Oh, this bothers me, until we started getting into houses and looking at them and getting bothered by things or getting excited about things. Like, we just didn't know that like the paint was going to like turn us on or off, or like, like the carpeting is like a big ick for Breeze for whatever reason. And so now when he even sees houses that have carpeting in it, he's like, almost like immediate no. Like, I'm like, well, the carpet aside,
Yeah, you can tear it out. There's always maybe cosmetic stuff too. Like, and I feel like a lot of people don't think about like little things like that, where it's like, paint and carpet and, stuff like that. You're going to want to make any house that you do move into your home at the end of the day. And even like, just to get back on, how he was feeling about, those opinions, I think when I get to a certain point, I'm like, don't fall in love with this house because there's some things happening
The
over
roof
here.
is coming in this room over here. Like,
Like,
we've seen those.
Yeah,
And you've been gracious enough to show us those, even though you're like, there's a hole in the roof. You guys don't want to do that. And Breezy's like, I want to see it anyway.
That's
like,
the thing.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
you have to see it for yourself. I see different types of houses all the time that, like, I already know 9 times out of 10 what's going to come out of that scenario, but you don't. And I don't want to be the one making those decisions for you. I'm here as a guide. I'm not here to tell you, no, yes, this is what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and blah, 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 to an extent. But I want you guys to understand, like, why I've come up with that decision. And it took us seeing a couple houses. Even I remember he was like, yeah, you were right. We didn't have to see this one. And I was like, but you did, like, and it's okay. And I'm glad that we did, because now and it's not because I said something. Like, I always want to have that advice and guidance and expertise, but to that same level, I need you guys to see things for yourself too. So I'm happy to take you. And I think a lot of people either don't want to, or they're lazy, or like, oh, I'll go to, do whatever, open house or something. But like, I always want my clients to make sure that, like, I want to know that they're comfortable, and I want them to understand why, not just coming from me.
And Breezy's always like, I don't want to waste their time. I'm like, this is their job. It's okay. Like, they're like, and I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, I don't want to waste anybody's time if I'm not ready, or I'm not this. And
we help you ready. Yeah,
exactly. And I think there's a lot of things, and just like for our friends out there, like, I haven't really been talking much on the show about us looking at houses for whatever reason. It's just something that we do for fun on the weekend. But like, we've been working up to this for a long time. And I don't think we talked about finances that much on the Let's Glow show, but I think we should talk about them more. Like, one thing that we did, like the second Breezy proposed, we talked about financials, and we talked about where we stood, what the debt that we had was. When I found out that I was the person bringing the debt and he was debt free, I was like, okay, I got to get my shit together, because I'm not going to be the one that brings us down. Like, that's not, like, we're too competitive for that. Like, I'm going to be the one that, like, we're going to, like, push each other forward. But that was a huge thing. Like, paying off my student loan debt was like, it was the biggest, like, it was a mental hurdle to get over. Like, oh, everybody's got debt. And that was the attitude. Everybody's got debt. Everybody's okay with it. This is just the world we live in now. And I was like, I'm going to attack this thing, because my husband doesn't have debt, or my future husband doesn't have debt. And after that, like, just as like a tip for our friends out there, it was after a conversation, I think, with Raquel, and we rented a place. We moved back from Texas in the middle of the pandemic, sight unseen. Raquel's like looking at houses for us, apartments for us. And we're just like, we trust you. You're our eyes, our ears, we're like, smell it. What does it smell like? Like, I remember being like, what does it smell like in this house? And you're like, you're not going to like it. Like, and then we ended up in this beautiful house, and then we, like, right after that, I remember being in that house and like talking about the experience that we had. And I was like, what if we could have bought this house? We weren't ready, but what if we could have, right? And he's like, well, I don't know how to get ready for a house. We don't have enough money for a mortgage. And that night we set like automatic payments to a savings account of like $50 each, and just let it ride, and like forgot about it for like a year. And then next thing we know, we have a couple $1,000s in there. Moved it over to a high yield savings account, because that's what all the YouTube channels say. All the financial gurus, they say, pay off your debt, put your savings, put it in a high yield. We're like, what the fuck's a high yield? Okay, we'll just like open a high yield, I guess. Just like listening to the words, Googling the words, and then doing the thing. Mm-hmm. And then we like tripled the amount that we're putting in. So instead of 50, we're doing like 150 or 300. And I have a trick. And this is for anybody trying to pay off debt or trying to save. My trick is, every time I look at it, I got to add money to it, even if it's just like $50. So it's like a game. Like, if I open up my like house savings fund and I want to see it, like I have to pay the fee, which is like a minimum of $50.
I love that.
So I check my bank account, like, can I afford to look at the other bank account? Yeah, I can afford to look at it. Let me look at it. And then the other trick I do is like, I always try to get it to double zero. So if it's at like 36.75, I'll pay like the 4.25 to get it to double. It's just like a little, and that shit adds up. Like
Mhm.
you'd be surprised because I look at that shit all the time. I'm looking at my bank account at least, like it's the first app that I look at before Instagram, before any other app. I'm like, what's going on in the bank?
You
Maybe
should be
nothing.
doing that. No, it's actually we're in this class right now, and I think that's a huge thing. And a lot of people don't pay attention, like that close attention to their financials, and it's a big deal. And you need to know, exactly where your money is going and what's coming in, what's going out, what needs to be, paid, especially when you're looking into getting a house. Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal. And I think that's one of the first conversations people don't realize that they need to have because it's that scary, like
Taboo.
one of
Money's taboo. It's weird that money is taboo.
yeah,
Like money, medical, and like all these things are so taboo, but it's the thing that everybody needs. We all need in the world that we live in the United States, in Metro Detroit, Michigan, we need money to survive. That is like that is how this world works.
even
And
the
we need,
conversation that you and Breezy had, huge.
yeah,
Like just
yeah,
to knock that out. Like this is our debt. This is what do you have going on? This is like to have just an honest conversation with yourself, your spouse, that those are big, like those are huge factors, getting into something like this. And I think that's you guys should be really proud of yourselves. Like people
thank you.
don't always take that initiative, and not even just that, but being honest in the conversation too.
I think like, and I don't know if you guys can attest to this, but like growing up, my mom would like sneak buy stuff. It would be like, don't tell your dad. And
Yeah.
we would like go to Macy's. We'd like go to 12 Oaks. Like, don't tell your dad, right?
Right.
This is my money. And like, I feel like there's this like taboo around that. And I was like, I don't want to go into like a relationship with that mentality. Cause I was like, should I tell him that I have student loan debt? He knows. He has to know.
Has to know,
He
right?
has to know. So, but it's this like, shh, don't tell your dad energy that I'm like working through. I don't know. Do you have a similar experience with money?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was kind of, I think for us, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong, it was more of like a fluid thing when our parents were married, and then things just kind of started changing, but it also changed us and our perspective as time went on. And I think that's something that we're learning now is just kind of like how to manage with, what to do and how to communicate about it. Where is it all going? Like, because people have memberships, people have, just these little couple dollars here, couple dollars there. And it's
Mhm.
like, we're like, oh man, are we wasting a bunch of money? Like, what are we doing? And
Yeah.
like, so I think just the main thing would be understanding your finances. Um, be honest. You should be honest with the people that, like your spouse, my sister, of course, like we're very open with each other. Our family is just very open like that. So I don't think going forward we would have much to hide. It's more going to be like, this is just how it is.
Yeah. I think a lot of it for us was
But
just learning it. Like we didn't really know much
yeah.
about it, and from what we saw wasn't great. So we're just
Mhm.
like, okay, well, now I've made all this money and I've spent all this money. No one's taught me how to manage it
Especially
until
1099. It's like,
being 1099, having to pay your taxes at the end of the year instead of getting a return. Like there's so many things that come along with the territory, but that's something that we're literally in the middle of learning now is managing the money that you're making and holding on to it, because everyone's solution for everything is always just to make more money. And sometimes you
Mhm.
gotta manage what you have, and then you could, make things happen off of that.
Right. Well, and it seems it's a very like it's commission-based business, and a lot of people are operating in like, oh, they get paid every 2 weeks. These real estate agents like get this like fat sack of cash. Well, it's like that's not how this works. And it's the same on the entrepreneurial side. Like people look at entrepreneurs like, oh, they're just like rolling in the dough. They're just like making money all the time. And it's like, no, we have to learn how to manage our money, manage your debt, manage the expenses. And anyway, we could talk about money for a long time. We won't.
Yeah.
But it's huge. I mean, it's huge on all of the places. And I think I think you said being honest to your spouse, to your partner. And I think it's also about being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And that is like a big challenge that I'm working with, is like being honest with myself where my money goes. Like I'm always looking for where it comes in. And I need to do more of a look at like, what am I spending my money on? Where does it go? And I think since we put a backup offer on a house, that was our first time doing that. It's not like we don't know if it's going to happen, but like putting the backup offer in changed something in my brain. I'm like, oh, we got to like tighten up. Like we should have been tightening up, but we got to tighten up for real, for real. And I'm like, oh, I could do a lot more that I could do a lot of the stuff that I normally do without like breaking the bank every day. I just didn't realize it until I was like, shut that valve a little bit.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't. That's the thing. It just kind of comes with that awareness. Like once you do these things and you're like, okay, we can do without this. We can do without, getting a cup of coffee every day. You'd be surprised what that could turn into over a week. And just little things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be anything crazy, but just like you said, just tighten up a little bit and you'd be surprised at what you can do.
So much. And I know the cup of coffee is always like a thing, but like I work next to Starbucks. There's 7 Sundays across the street from me, Atomic Coffee, Desert Oasis. The coffees are minimum $7. So I was getting a coffee every day. And that's like, what's 7 times, I'm spending like 50 something bucks a week. And now I'm just like, oh, let me just put it in the house fund. It's got a 6 point something % return. Like, what does that do? I don't know. Got $6 more. Got 1 free cup of coffee, whatever. But it's weird. It's weird. But we have very little time left, which is sad because we haven't even got to talk about half of the things I wanted to talk about, which is so many things, like your journey and the things that you've gone through. Like people know I was like a ragtag kid and I was getting in trouble really young and really early. And y'all saw me through that whole shit. And we were on our own paths, being ragtaggy together. like getting into trouble. Like, and I say this all like with so much love in my heart. Like when I self-sabotage or I have imposter syndrome, I think about the little girl that used to hang out with you. That is the girl that I think about. And then I see you two starting your YouTube show, selling fucking houses, doing your shit. And I'm like, we're doing this together. Okay. Like we've been growing through this into this version of ourselves together this whole time. And so talking to you guys has always helped my like inner self-saboteur, because that girl, the girl that was like with you guys on the bus, is the girl that I always think about, feel like I still am when I'm like self-sabotaging or like imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I actually wrote about this in my journal this morning because I was like, my day today is going to be blah, 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 blah. I was like, we're going on the Let's Glow show with Amanda. And I'm like, this is just such a funny moment because literally exactly what you said, just like how we've just grown into these people that I don't even know if we like even dreamed of being when we were younger, and just watching how things have like unfolded for us and knowing like from our past, like, the things that we've all gone through in our lives and just getting to this moment. I was just like, this is like so cute. I'm like, I still feel like that little girl though, like just as an adult, like I'm able to be more creative and do all these things and put them out there because I'm an adult. But like nothing really did change from like the little girls that used to make chicken patties and knock on the door, and you know what I mean? And just like that, like we're still those girls. We're still that way. It's just now we have this professional side and now we're adults and we do things that adults do. But like I don't necessarily like sometimes I don't feel like I'm the adult that people should be like looking up to. Like I'm still like that girl is looking up to this girl and that's it. Like I'm just doing me, but like, I
Right.
just, so cute how like, and Rachel too, like how we're just all doing our thing and
Doing our thing and thriving and growing. But you made that post about it from a clip from your show about imposter syndrome. And I've been feeling in that. And I think you all saw it like when we were at Creator Con and I was on the stage with these like amazing people. And I'm like, yeah, the person sitting next to me was this, and this person was this, and that person was that. And I was like, who am I to be up there? And y'all were like, but you were up there. And I was like, but I don't understand, like, and I've been fighting with this, like, I don't understand why. And not like taking enough of a look back and being like, oh, this is the shit that you're building. And if anybody else would just say it, I would be impressed. But like when I think about it myself, I'm like, I'm not doing enough. And so I'm working through that. But like being here with you two is like food for the soul. And I just wish that Alexa and Rachel were here right now because it would just be like even more full. But okay, before we go, I have 2.5 questions and then we have to close early. I'm sorry. But one, where can everybody find you on social and where can they watch your YouTube show?
Social media, Instagram is Property Sisters of Michigan. And then our YouTube channel is Property Sisters Network. Our podcast is called Bold Moves.
And one last piece of advice from you ladies, real quick and dirty, like about anything that you want it to be about. What's your last piece of advice?
I would say be yourself. And if you don't know who that is, fill your cup with everything that makes you happy and keep going towards that. And then everything else will just
fall into place. Yeah. I would agree actually, because I think for me anyway, I guess for both of us, I don't know what I'm saying, but like it was always just, I don't know if I necessarily dreamt what we're doing, or even thought very much about it, but all these little things that I was like, I like this feels good, I can do this. It just led us here. So just keep doing what feels good. We were even just talking about like, what was the last time when we were just like, when we sang karaoke together and just like doing these little like feel good things, find your habits and hobbies that like maybe you once loved that like fell off, little things that like you can just kind of feed your soul along the way and see where it takes you. I think that's been a big deal for us too.
I love it. I'm so proud of you, girl.
Yeah, we're huge in the reflecting and healing era right now.
Oh, hell yeah, 100%. And I think to your point, oh, hell yeah. Like the healing, the reliving, the finding. And I think you said something that sparked a thought for me. It's like finding things that bring you joy along the way and not like seeking out the joy at the end of the tunnel. Like you're never going to get to the end. The end is the end we die, right? Yeah. And so if you're waiting till the end to find joy and find yourself and find your peace, like you're going to be waiting a lifetime and you got to just, you got to do that shit all the time. Because I don't know. So we need to schedule a wing ding dinner, which is what we like to call our like group gatherings. We need to schedule one of those. I miss you both. I love you so much. This show needs to be 2 hours long. And I'm sorry that it couldn't be. We'll do another part. We'll do a part 2.
There could be a part 2, maybe a crossover on Bold Moves next time.
Okay, I'm ready. Call me.
Part 2.
Yay! That's fun.
I love you both so much.
Thank you, Pam. I love
you.
And
thank you all so much for joining the Let's Glow show. We're here every single week with creative entrepreneurs. If you are loving the Delly sisters, go to Property Sisters of Michigan. They've got cute vignettes, stories, inspirational house stuff, all the things, family stuff. It's just follow these girls. You will not regret it. And mark your calendars for January 25th. We'll be at Big Pink for the Revamped Clothing Swap Festival. Until then, stay amazing, be magic, find the joy in every day. And I love you guys. And we'll see you next week.
Love you. Mwah.
Love you.